Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm gonna be ranking all the palettes that I've tried up to this point. So it's kind of like my mid-year ranking. I always do like a big ranking at the end of the year, but this is just gonna be for all the palettes that I've tried and like hauled since the beginning of January to kind of let you know how many palettes I added in my collection, what kind of changed for me, if I have all of them, and if I'm keeping all of them. If I'm counting correctly, we're gonna be talking about 16 palettes. I hope I've counted that right, but if I didn't, then I'm just really sorry. And yeah, we're just gonna rank them and I'm gonna tell you kind of my reasoning for that. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. In case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows especially. And yeah, that's kind of all that I enjoy. I do a lot of rankings, projects, swatching, panning, kind of everything. So hopefully you'll find something that you like. And now, number 16 is a palette that I no longer have. Actually, it was my first review of this year, if I remember that correctly. And it's the Little Cosmetics Spellcraft palette, which was a beautiful kind of deep, cool toned, like tops and like purples, berries. It was a really, really beautiful palette, but I just have these shades kind of elsewhere. And it didn't really, I don't know, it was just something that I already kind of have. And I felt like since it's shades that I don't wear that often, I don't really wear that many cool tones. And if I do, they have to be like bright. I don't really do like a murky cool tones all that often. And if I want to, I have a couple of palettes that offer that, plus also colors and tones that I am way more prone to use. So I don't have the Spellcraft palette anymore, so that's gonna be number 16, but it is a wonderful palette. It is absolutely gorgeous and the quality of it is spectacular. It has nothing to do with the fact that I wouldn't like the actual quality. It just, for me, it wouldn't get enough uses, so I found someone who would enjoy it more. And we're gonna stay on the same note because another palette that I do technically still have, but I'm sending it off today, well, tomorrow, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it today, is the Bitten palette by Gourmand Girls. And this one is also because it's kind of on a similar vibe, and also I will talk about palette that gives me kind of this but also more, and it's like more of the things that I would reach for on a daily basis. So that's why I'm actually getting rid of this one. I found someone who would want this way more than I do, and so that's where it's going. But it is a beautiful palette. Like, do you see this? It's such a gorgeous palette. I do really love it. It's very beautiful. It's very cute. And obviously, like, it's very like spooky Halloweeny, even though this came out during Valentine's, but it's like a spooky Valentine's, and I love that for it. But realistically, it would just kind of be like a collector's palette, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to just collect palettes. I want to actually use them, and I know that realistically I would only use this in order to use it. It wouldn't actually be like me thinking about this palette and reaching for it naturally. So that's why I'm getting rid of that one, and that is number 15. No, it's number 16. I think we have 17 of them. If I'm incorrect, I'm just gonna write down the number on the screen. But yeah, so that was number 16, and now it's gonna be number 15. And number 15 is gonna be here mostly for the fact that it's just a very small palette that I can't really do all that much with, and that's the ZC Colorful Animal 4-color eyeshadow in the version XO3, which is this colorful little kitten, and this is how it looks like on the inside. Well, actually like this. So it's like a pinky berry orange color story. The mattes are quite okay. They're like a nice, good shimmer, matte. It's not like out of this world formula, but it's like a really good drugstore formula, I would say. And then the shimmer in there is okay. It's a drugstore shimmer. Nothing to write home about, but also like it's okay. I can use that. I can only really do like 1 or 2 looks with this. It doesn't offer much more, so For that, obviously, it can rank higher than that, but it's a really cute little quad that I am enjoying quite a bit so far. I've used it like 4 times, I think, so not too much, but also like there's very minimal things you can do with this, so I've tried it kind of in all the ways that I think I will be able to use it. So that one is 15. Then number 14 is a palette that I am really enjoying, even though I haven't really used it all that much because it is fairly new in my collection, but I know that it probably, like, it kind of does have most of the things that I already have elsewhere in my collection. This one was mostly for the fact that A, I wanted to try this formula again, and B, because the collab and like the licensing of it was just really fun to me. And some of you might already guess that, but it's the Middle Earth palette by Glamlight in collaboration with Lord of the Rings. This is a really beautiful palette, and I was so surprised by the quality of this. Like, it actually is a wonderful quality. For me, it's just the fact that I kind of have this in a lot of palettes. So for me, it's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing that I can't do with my collection. Like, I could probably pick like 3 or 4 palettes for my collection that would kind of dupe this immediately. And like for the most part, obviously. So it's not a color story that I need in my life because I already do have that, but it's just a formula that I wanted to try again. And obviously it's a collab that I just couldn't miss because I love Lord of the Rings. So technically for me it's nothing revolutionary, that's why I'm not ranking it higher, but it's still a really, really, really good palette. Like, I've been really lucky with the quality and the formulas that I don't actually have anything that wouldn't be good. Then number 12 is the Nomad Cosmetics Route 66 palette. And that's just because even though it is a wonderful formula and a wonderful color story, A, we're gonna get better formulas here. And also, I know that they could do even better with their formula. So this is the Route 66. Let me show you how it looks like. And the color story of it is so wonderful. And I love the mattes. I do love the selection of shimmers. Like, the colors are really, really pretty. But I know that they can do shimmers that I like even more. And those are the more like sparklier ones that they had in the Chicago Speakeasy and the Fairy Tale Europe palette. So for me, that's kind of the reason, because I know that when it comes to the shimmers in this palette, they can do better formula. Not necessarily the shade range, because I do really like the shades that they've chosen. I would just wish for the formula to be slightly more like the one that I've been obsessing with in the Chicago and in the Fairy Tale Europe palette. So that's just my like itty bitty little thing that I have with this, but I've already used this palette so much. I think I've used it like 9 times so far. I am really enjoying it. It does inspire me, even though it is a neutral color story, like very neutral. I'm still finding so many nice kind of color stories and looks, and it's a palette that I can very easily use every day to do something that is very, very, very easy going, and just like, you know, I don't have to think about it, but also I can pop something fun and me into the look. So I am really enjoying it. It just, you know, I know that technically, like, if I was like really nitpicky, they could make this palette even better without like really changing the way it looks, just like the way it performs and the way it looks on the eyes. So that's for that one. Then this ranking is so hard. It always is, because like sometimes I have like 1 or 2 that I know I'm not really like gonna keep for long, so that is easy. And then I know like before my top 5 because I'm obsessed with them, and then everything in between is just like the same amount of great. So the next palette is the Beauty Below by Blend Bunny Cosmetics, and I think when it comes to the formula, it would probably deserve to be higher up, but also there are a couple shades that I feel like could have been better with the when it comes to the formula, and also it's not a color story that works for me the way it is. I actually changed it, and I have 2 shades here that don't belong here. They're supposed to be in the Lens collab that they've had. Because that way I can actually use it more comfortably. But even then, like, it's very dark, and I do love how that looks in the band. Like, oh, it is so rich and so gorgeous. But right now, maybe it's just the season. Maybe I'm gonna be saying something completely different at the end of the year. But right now, for me, it's kind of too dark and kind of too like jewel toned almost. And I wish that they would kind of experiment more with the tones of the shimmers, because a lot of them are kind of the same kind of berry, and they look very similar on the eyes, and they could have give us a little bit more variety. And that's kind of all that I have for it. Like, the formula is wonderful, obviously the mattes are great, and so many of these shimmers are so gorgeous. It's just that a couple of these are like very berry same, and also for matte it's slightly more like drier, thicker than the rest, and it just kind of doesn't look as wonderful, and they do stain. Some of these berry ones kind of stain your lid, so you know, I'm just not obsessed with those berry shimmers. I feel like even the mattes, like a couple of these purples didn't have to be there, you know. Like, I think they definitely could have put like one lighter shimmer and one lighter matte without ever like changing the color story. I don't think you would even notice that if you swapped one matte and one shimmer from these to something lighter. Like, I really don't think you would miss that that shimmer, or like those 2 shades. Then number 11. It's probably gonna be like really weird of me to do that, but I don't know, like, I just love all the formulas more, all the other formulas more, and I just feel like I'm actually gonna be reaching for them more, even though it's just like, it feels so weird. But that's the Wilma collab with Beauty Moons. I do really love it. I think it's so fun. I just love what they did. It's very like bright flag type of color story. Like, it is so fun to me. It's just, I think I'm like, on a regular basis, if I wasn't doing any projects, if I wasn't trying to hit any pans, out of all of these, I think this one would be the one I would use the least. If I'm kind of looking at all the palettes I have in front of me that I haven't mentioned yet, I think this one I would use the least. It is a wonderful formula. Beauty Moons is pretty like nice, standard, good indie formula. It's not like, the mattes aren't as good as Blend Bunnies, the shimmers aren't as good as Fantasy Cosmetica, but they're really, really good for like a kind of like an everyday indie brand, and they're very affordable, so that's what I really have to congratulate them on. And I really like the shimmers in this one. Like, they kind of really surprised me with the quality. Love the bright pops of colors. The neons here are very neon, which I don't remember from the previous palettes. Like, I think the mattes were like good, but these, especially the neons, are really, really good. So yeah, that one. I don't really know much more what to say. I haven't used it all that many times. I think I've used it like 4 times. It's a fairly new palette in my collection. Maybe I'm gonna fall in love with it during the next uses, but right now I'm just kind of like okay about it. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't really pull me in as much as the other ones. And number 9 kind of falls again into the category of really, really nice packaging, really nice color story. I could just tweak the formula a little bit, and it's the Be Cosmetics Midsummer Moons palette, which is a really, I have to stop saying really. It's a wonderful palette. Obviously I'm really obsessed with these like Halloweeny tones. There's nothing that makes me more happy than like these really these very nice purples and greens all together. I do like these bigger shimmers. I think that formula is super nice. It has that sparkly effect. It's not like fully metallic or shimmery or duochromy, but it's sparkly. It's very beautiful, kind of like the fairy dust type of look. But these like crescent moons, I don't know if it's the fact that it's pressed into this shape, but the shimmers aren't all that great. And that is the formula of it as well, because it's definitely made to be a little bit more regular, basic shimmer. But the mattes also, they're kind of dusty and hard to show a pigment. That's how I'm gonna say it. So it's an okay formula. Do love the color story, the presentation. It's obviously really wonderful. But again, everything after this will be better. Then next up, I have the Chicago Speakeasy by Nomad, and I feel bad for putting it here because I feel like it should be higher up, especially after finishing my Project 20 uses with it. I have fallen in love with this. I've discovered like a real passion for this palette, even though it is like a neutral color story, but it has these gold tones, and the shimmers here are spectacular. I do really enjoy them. They are very sparkly and kind of, some of them are almost like holochromy, and some of them are very beautiful duochromes that I didn't know Nomad could do previously. So for me, this is a very exciting and new palette, and it just shows me that Nomad is very versatile when they want to and when they have the option to. Yeah, maybe it's the Project 20 uses, but I have actually fallen in love with this one. And I'm always like, every single time I look through my palette collection and I notice this one, I do want to use it. So that's a good sign. And this is like where it gets extremely hard because I really don't know how to rank these. So from now on, take this ranking with a little bit of like grain of salt because I really don't know. It could be different tomorrow. So number 8, I'm gonna mention the DD Signatures Chromebook Volume 2, and I'm putting it here mostly because it's a shimmer pad. It has 3 mattes and they're dark, so if I want to do that like liner look where I create like a thicker liner design in the outer part and then the whole lid is just shimmers, obviously this works wonderfully. But for everything else, I do need another palette. So most of the times that I would use this, it would be a companion palette. And that's my reason for putting it here. Because I can't really use it on its own for most of the looks that I'm going to create with it. But it is such a gorgeous palette. These shimmers and multichromes and duochromes and everything are so gorgeous. I don't know if there's a technology that can show you through like camera how stunningly beautiful these are. Yeah, like I highly recommend this one. Then next up, I have the Solmonet 2 Moonwish palette by Udens Eye, and this is a wonderful, wonderful palette. It's a gorgeous formula. I do love mixing purple with yellow. I just feel like a couple of these, Nomad changed their formula a little bit, and I think that what they had previously was better. I think the formula that they had with like the first Christmas collection and the Legendary Diversa, like the second part of Legendary Diversa, that was a really nice formula. This has couple shades that I do enjoy the way they look, but they are a little bit more almost like glue-like, and a couple of these are kind of, I do have to use my finger with a couple of these shimmers because they don't really want to stick to a brush and they're kind of harder to use. And a couple of these mattes, I do have to work a little bit more to make them look the way that I want them to look, which is not what I've been used to with Nomad, because for example the mats in the Christmas palette or in the previous Solmona palette, or even with the Legendary Diverse, like they were better from what I remember. It's not that this is bad, it's actually like really nice formula, but I think that they can do better, or they were able to do better. I think they also switched labs, if I remember that correctly, and maybe that's the reason that they can't really create the same thing when they're using different lab. So color story, wonderful, packaging, gorgeous. Like, do you see that? But again, it's just the fact that they can do better, or I know that they were able to do better, in my opinion. Maybe that's just obviously like my opinion and my way of like using eyeshadows. I'm 100% sure that there are people who prefer this formula. Then number 6. I'm actually gonna put the Smitten palette by the Everyone, and it has nothing to do with the quality because the quality is gorgeous. But technically, from the palettes that I have in front of me that I haven't mentioned yet, this is color study I'm gonna use the least. But I love the shimmers. These are absolutely out of this world, and I'm gonna use this palette mostly for the shimmers. Not that there's not anything wrong with the mattes, because the mattes are so buttery smooth, easy to use, and very pigmented and quick to like layer. But the shimmers, they're just like the absolute most wonderful thing that the Everyone has ever created, in my opinion. And I do love their brand. I don't have that many things from their brand. I have a couple things coming to me, but yeah, I just really don't know where else I would rank this. Also, I forgot to mention, all of these pads were by me. I haven't really I don't have any like PRs or anything. The only one that I've been given through PR was the Nomad Route 66. So, and I have a code with Nomad. It's not affiliated. I didn't earn any money, but if you want to use it and if you want to support this channel and like show Nomad that they might keep sending things to me, I will link it down below, and I will link all of the palettes here down below. But just so you know, the Route 66 was sent to me. It was just like a one-time thing, and yeah, maybe if you're gonna use my code, maybe they could send a couple more things to me in the future. Then number 5 is this Manifestation palette by V Cosmetics. This one is like so much better than the Midsummer Moons. It's just way more pigmented, way sparklier, way just more fun to use. But it is a mostly shimmer palette with just 3 mattes, but I do feel like you can do a lot with these mattes. They definitely have a way more of variety, especially compared to the DD Signatures palette. And I love the selection. You have my favorite greens, oranges, then these deeper shades, these beautiful iridescent shades, and then this holochrome, which is like a silver base. Just so stunning. Yeah, I love this palette. I'm kind of toying with the idea of putting it as my palette crush of the month at some point, maybe like in the autumn season. That could be nice. The number 4 is the Nomad Fairy Tale Europe palette. By far my favorite palette from Nomad that they've ever created. This is how it looks like. It's like 2/3 of a shimmer palette, and then the rest are mattes, and they're pretty like neutral and quite cool toned. So I don't actually use these mattes all that often, but I do like the shimmers. You have a couple like more standard shimmers, but a lot of them are duochromes or like very sparkly shades, and I love this formula from them. And I also just love this color story. I feel like it fits the theme so well, and I love the packaging, the fact that like they just played with this and they really had fun, in my opinion, because you can see it in the packaging, in the details, in all the designs, and in the color story as well. So this one is definitely my favorite Nomad palette, but there are just brands that create even better formulas. But for what Nomad is working with, I think this is really nice. And also I love their cause, because in case you don't know that, Nomad always works with a with some kind of foundation, like whether it's to save like environment or, you know, I think this one was for the UNESCO Heritage program. So they always have like a cause that they're donating. I think it was like 10% or 15% or something like that from every single purchase. So I just love them for this. And it's like a cool way for people who maybe like don't really donate to charities but would love to support charities. Like this is just like you're getting a gift for yourself and you're also donating as well. So I find that to be really cute. Then number 3. So we're in the top 3. And I have the Lindt Cosmetics and Blend Bunny collab. I also have the liner pad that I had with Glisten, or that she had with Glisten. But obviously we're talking about eyeshadow pad. Mine is slightly changed. These 2 shades are supposed to be in the Blend Bunny Beauty Below, but I just switched it up to make the other palette a little bit more versatile, and I felt like this is still a really, really fun color story that I would love to work with. But this is such a beautiful palette for the fact that it's mostly mattes and only 2 shimmers, and I'm usually the one that prefers like higher shimmer ratio. This is so good. This is so incredible. I have a pan in the shade Slay. It was in my Pendos eyeshadows, but also it would happen anyways because I love this shade. It's genuinely one of the most beautiful multi-chromes that I have in my collection. And I can't believe it's from Blend Bunny because I don't think they're known for their shimmer formula. Like it's definitely the mattes that everybody knows them for. And the mattes in this are so good. And I love what Lindt's kind of picked. I love the fun, kind of quirky, colorful, slightly crazy, but just so cool color story. I love that it's all the colors that I love, and it's kind of colors that technically, if you look at them, don't make sense for most people, but also once you start working with it, you realize how fun and creative these are, and it's actually not really hard to use them. They do work very, very nicely with each other, and I think that's the Blend Bunny's formula, the fact that you can literally blend the most insane shades together and it will just create a magic. But this is a fun collection. It's tones of colors that aren't really used together very often, and that's what makes it just the most perfect palette for me, because I love these crazy color stories and weird palettes, and it's super versatile. You wouldn't believe it when you would first see it. Then okay, this was really hard, and I think it's literally just the fact that I really like the sunny weather right now, but also I'm kind of slightly over it, but also I really, really, really am glad for the fact that it's finally nice weather, and that I think kind of altered my ranking here. So the second one is gonna be the Galactic Visitor from Cinch Beauty. I adore this palette. This is gonna be one of the best palettes of this year. I already know that. Like I don't really know if anything can top that. It is absolutely wonderful. And I don't know those, like, it is the most beautiful palette. I don't even know if I can compare it to anything. This really surprised me because obviously I've seen so many pictures before buying this. I was so excited for this. And then I opened it and it was even better. I just really couldn't believe that. And every single time I open it, I'm just completely in awe. And I don't know how Angie did it, but she just did it. She completely killed it. It's the best thing ever. I don't know how she can ever like top this, honestly, but this is so me and so wonderful. But because we're finally starting to get the nice weather, and I've been meaning to get a palette like this for a really long time. I've been kind of dreaming about similar little 9 pan for many, many months, and it's the Monk by Fantasy Cosmetica. It's my second Fantasy Cosmetica palette I've ever bought, and it's all kind of oranges, yellows with a little bit of brown, and I love this pop of kind of like a pinky orange purple. It's such a beautiful, fun, kind of marbled shade. And it really works with this one. I know it's a 9 pan, I know it's monochromatic. I'm usually not into that, but I've just been really, really craving these yellowy, warm little palettes. And I don't have that many yellows in my collection. I do have multiple palettes that have like 1 or 2 yellows in it, but I've been meaning to buy an all yellowy warm palette for a very long time, and I haven't really gotten a chance to until this little guy. So yeah, I needed that, and it's so wonderful. I love Fantasy Cosmetics formula. It's definitely one of my favorite formulas. I think with the cinch and and then I don't know, there's multiple brands that I'm kind of like on the fence which one is like on a third spot, because they're all wonderful. But this is definitely in my top 3, and I absolutely adore this one. So that's the entire ranking. It's a lot of palettes. I was kind of hoping it would be less by this point, because I think my unofficial rule was like maximum 2 palettes a month, which means we should be talking about maximum of 12 palettes by now. And it's definitely more than that, but as I said, one of them is already gone from my collection, one is getting or is about to be gone. And what you actually don't know is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 palettes that I'm about to review, and 2 on the way. So I'm not doing great, but I'm really enjoying everything that I have. And yeah, and I also decluttered 1 palette from last year. I think it's the Moonshroom palette by Lunar. I decided that it just isn't really, it's not really a palette that I need to keep, so I got rid of it. So you know, like I'm downsizing slowly, but I am. So that's for today. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, and write down below how many palettes you've bought so far this year. I hope it's not as bad as me, but also, like, if it is, then we can just, you know, feel ashamed together. So have a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. Bye!